Hi there, Serial Trader here. Let's do a quick check-in with the major U.S. indices, and I won't even bother showing the wave chart today, just because this short-term correction is taking such a complex form. I mean, I was working, I think yesterday, a triple zigzag potentially. Well, now we've had even more complexity added to it. So instead of trying to pull my hair out, trying to force a labeling scheme on it, let's just say that it's a complex correction. But keynote is that it is corrective. It's not an impulsive decline, and that's certainly very indicative of the choppy overlapping waves that you're seeing here. I mean, that's about as choppy as you get, right? Just on the hourly chart. Now on the daily chart here, the low of yesterday, as promising as it may have looked, did not hold. We made a new low intraday and closing, although we had a very nice strong bounce off the bottom of the day. So after being stopped out, where I had my stop just below yesterday's low, I let it come down. It started stalling out. I saw it coming to react off this 20-day simple moving average, and I believe we were oversold on the hourly chart as well on SPX with RSI. So I found that quite attractive. So I did a nice intraday long day trade, but I didn't carry it overnight because at this point I'm just going to let it start coming up and prove itself instead of trying to catch the pivot. So yeah, I only have so much patience trying to catch a pivot. You get stopped out 2 or 3 times. That's probably good enough, and at that point it's time to switch the game plan and just be a scalper until it can really find its footing. Now, we did have, again, that nice reaction off that 20-day simple moving average. Again, another long lower shadow of dip buying. So that could be the pivot low in today, although not confident until at this point we start getting up and get back above the T line here. And if the 20-day doesn't hold, we might be making a trip down to the 50-day simple moving average. That's kind of the next thing here standing out to me. Although I think given the short-term oversold nature of where we are now, it's a good chance we've found a decent pivot, but we'll see. We'll see tomorrow. Okay, now on the NASDAQ composite, let's have a look at this. Normally I do the Dow first, but whatever, I did the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ composite, we basically just close right at the 20-day simple moving average and reject a little bit off the lows of the day. So NASDAQ, again, looking a little weaker in comparison. And there's certainly some individual tech names getting killed bad. So we might be making a trip down to this 50-day simple moving average potentially. But we'll see. The NASDAQ's quite oversold on a short-term basis as well now. I think the hourly RSI on the NASDAQ, it's in extreme oversold territory. That's usually a good position for it to bounce from, but we'll see. Now we'll go to Dow Jones Industrial Average. And this is kind of the standout. So the Dow really holding up quite well through all this. The Dow actually had a positive day ever so slightly, basically closed flat, but still. And again, we're still closing well above the T line here. So the industrial is definitely showing some relative strength here. And, certain names, a couple I pointed out recently in some videos, Boeing and Caterpillar, they're doing great here. You wouldn't know that there's a pullback looking at them, so they're performing nicely. So I'm happy with those. Okay, let's go with the VIX. VIX definitely seeing a little action today, but still nothing dramatic. Again, we didn't even get up to this most recent resistance level of 1686 on the VIX. We only got as high as 1541, and we actually closed again in the 14. So this is still just painting the picture in VIX. So this is just a very mild pullback, and we're gonna find a pivot and get going again to the upside on the stocks. So still patiently waiting for that to play out. Anyway, that's a little update for now. Check in tomorrow after the close, or maybe more likely on the weekend sometime. All right, Serial Trader signing off.